All of you know that the NAACP organizations are nonpartisan, and the Republican candidates for governor have been invited to attend today. They all had their reasons why they couldn't attend. I'll leave it up to you and to interpret that. However, for the general election in the fall, I do expect if the NAACP, and that's plural or singular, conducts another session like this, I do expect the Republican candidates to be there. Otherwise, that gives you another message other than today. Just want to get that off my chest. Now, that's not necessarily a value judgment on those candidates, because we have to keep our minds open until we hear from them, just like any candidate. So let's make sure we understand that. Now, we touched a little bit on education. There was talk about free pre-K. And I think one set of candidates also talked about free college or trade school tuition. And before I ask the question and we get their answers, I remind you again that there's no way in 2.5, 3 minutes that they can answer these questions fully. So keep in mind, go to these candidates' websites, continue to talk to them. You can talk to them today, even after we're done here, but get answers that are suitable to you. I just want to make sure that you are armed with information, because an armed voter, I won't say is a dangerous voter, but only to those who don't deserve their vote. So let's talk a little bit about education. Years ago, there's been several Supreme Court decisions, they call them the DeRoff decisions, whereby it was determined by the Supreme Court that the funding mechanism for public schools in the state of Ohio was unconstitutional. There's been several Band-Aids try to ameliorate that. I don't think it's worked, but let's see what the candidates think. So my question is, in terms of public education for the state of Ohio, how would you hopefully increase public funding, state funding, to public education? And let's start down here with the Kucinich team once again.
Well, to begin with, let's look at $1 billion a year that has been taken from public schools and given to for-profit charters. We need to put an end to this for-profit charter system, which is draining our schools, causing layoffs of teachers, closing programs out. I mean, and why is this happening? It's part of the pay-to-play racket in Columbus. That state government in Columbus is one of the most corrupt state governments in existence. The Speaker of the House just had to quit because of his connivance with a lobbyist. When you look at the money that is going to in campaign contributions to support these individuals who are in the legislature, they're getting money from charter school interests in order to perpetuate a dual school system. One public, which they're underfunding, and another one private for profit. Again, we end that. Now there's more. Yes, the DeRoff decision said that the legislature has a responsibility to create, quote, a thorough and efficient system of common schools, unquote. We need to redo our whole tax structure with respect to our schools. The reliance on property tax has hurt public education for a number of reasons. Number one, there was a park investment case about 50 years ago which said that commercial, industrial, and residential property should all be taxed at the same rate. It used to be taxed at a different rate because the value was embedded in the industrial and the commercial. Well, what they did, they had it all taxed at the same rate, and that put more of a burden on residential. And what's happening is that county boards of revisions, you could check this in Summit County or anywhere, big businesses get a cut on their property taxes. They're paying Mediterranean and Baltic taxes on Park Place and boardwalk properties. And and so what's happening is that they're not paying a fair share. You remember the lottery. The lottery was passed to supplement education. No, it was substituted education. State was taking the money and building prisons. I mean, we have an upside-down system which Tara Samples and I intend to change, starting with a revision of how we, starting with fully funding public education, by getting rid of these charters. Only if a local community wants to set up a charter, that should be the privilege of the voters and the boards of education. We need to fully support our boards of education. As governor, I don't need to to appoint a state board. I want the people to have that right. And as governor, I want the people in communities to have the say-so as to whether or not they want charter schools. But we're going to chase the money changers out of that temple in Columbus when it comes to this issue and all the others. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, Dennis hit all his talking points, but I'm going to try to get into the real deal of what's going on. So I've been down there for a decade, and I've seen how this works. We have for-profit charter schools that are receiving all of the benefits at the state level through legislation. And so what we've done is we've allowed these for-profit brick-and-mortar charter schools to go into urban communities and poach our kids out of our public schools by promising them something different, something better. Some sort of tuition-free academy, some nonsense XYZ academy. They make the teachers go into communities, door knock, and get kids to enroll in the school, and they're told if the teachers don't find the kids, then they don't have a job. So that's wrong. So for the past 6 years in the state Senate, I've been putting forward legislation to say, if you want to be a school, you have to follow the school, same rules as a public school down the street. Sensible legislation. Finally starting to get legs because people are tired of it, because they realize that that state share that they're paying their taxes follows that kid out the public school and into that charter school. And so they're frustrated about that. The other issue, instead of fixing the DeRolf decision and getting a leader that is actually going to go into individual school districts and figure out the needs and invest in it, we've gone around it in a backwards way where we open the doors for additional vouchers. So now certain students, either from failing school districts or families making under a certain amount of money, are eligible for a voucher and can take that voucher school to the parochial school down the street if they want to take that voucher kid. So it's not the choice really of the kid and the family, it's the choice of the parochial school of whether or not they want to take voucher kids. Then we've put open enrollment in place, where we're putting our superintendents in a situation where they got to cut each other's throats for the kids, because if they don't get the kids, then they don't get the dollars and they can't keep the school going. So this stuff is all occurring, and we need somebody that understands this and needs to make that realistic, meaningful investment in public schools at an individual need basis, not just some cookie cutter mass spreadsheet approach, which we've done. You know, I've sit next to Vern Sykes in the Education Committee. We talk about this stuff all the time. We need somebody that's finally going to deal with wraparound services for communities that need it, rather than school takeovers. That's the lazy approach. Governor Kasich didn't want to invest the dollars into schools like Youngstown and Lorain and these other schools that are failing, so he tries to take it over so that they say the elected school board doesn't have any say, and we're going to take it over with some appointee that we're going to make other appointees pick. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it can change because people are sick and tired of it. You just need a leader that understands it and is going to execute it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Team Cordray.
Thank you very much. There is so much to say and so much to do with education. And I will begin with this. I was in the state legislature when DeRolf was decided with Vernon Sykes, and we signed on to the amicus brief that got us to that decision. But the truth is, we haven't fulfilled that decision, right? We know that we haven't, but we don't need a court to tell us that something is wrong. And the work of a governor and a lieutenant governor is education. It's pre-K, it's K through 12, it's vocational education, it's apprenticeship programs, it's breaking down barriers, it's opening it up, it's community college, it's college that you don't have to receive a degree and then be drowning in debt for the rest of your life. Those are all issues that your next governor is going to have a great role in reversing. I have to tell you that, we want Ohio to be an opportunity state, that no matter who you are or where you live or what your zip code is, you have a chance, a pathway to a good job and a good life. That's what that Department of Labor is about, and that's what our administration will be about. I not only was a member of the legislature and worked through, fought for universal pre-K, I also stood up for teachers as an attorney. We have got to stop demonizing teachers. They are using their life. Education is the cornerstone of democracy. Here today, we are here because we want to educate ourselves and our voters. And so we have got to embrace all that we can to empower people with the information that they need to not only, as I say, survive, but to thrive. And that is exactly what Rich Cordray and I will do. We will empower teachers so that they are no longer just teaching to a test and frankly, labeling our kids sometimes as failures because of those tests being out of whack as well. We will stop the state takeover of public education. We will stop the siphoning off of dollars from our public schools and undercutting our kids with the for-profit charter schools. And we will make Ohio's education system work for everyone, everywhere, regardless of gender, ethnicity, socioeconomic status. It doesn't matter. In Ohio, everyone should have an opportunity to succeed.
Thank you. Team Judge O'Neill.
My territory here. I've been an educator in urban education for 19 years. And my motto is, a quality education is a civil right. Now, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Everyone wants the best for their child. Even if it's that charter school down the street, that parochial school down the street, or that public school down the street. Many parents are going to certain schools because, especially charters, because it's just a symptom of a disease that we were allowed to perpetuate for over 24 years. As an urban educator for 20 years, did you know that Governor Kasich currently has a 25-member cabinet? Not one person on that cabinet is an educator. But we have people on that cabinet that has backgrounds for prisons. And that is horrible. Now let's talk about universal preschool. In case people don't know, a lot of preschools are free in urban education. They're free. But the problem with some of the preschools, we have 1 out of 5 stars, meaning that those particular preschools are not up to quality. As the Lieutenant Governor, I promise to make sure that those schools are up to standard. In addition to that, I want to go back to community colleges. We have right now a lot of our students in high school going to community college for free. But when they go to a 4-year college, they come out with a $30,000 or more in debt. Ohio right now is 14th in the country from when students graduate in debt. That is crazy. And the Board of Regents, who haven't met in 9 months, determines that. So the insanity is that we need to not only talk about education, but learn how to fix education properly. I have that background. Experience is a good teacher. Third, the whole child. We must assist with wraparound services for the whole child. What I mean by that, currently we have children no longer, I'm not going to say we don't have the crack babies anymore, but we have children suffering when parents are on heroin. We have to help those students by giving those proper wraparound services. And finally, House Bill 70 is not just affecting Lorain, Youngstown, but it's going to affect 4 other school districts here, where we have a CEO who's going to tell the school boards that you elect what to do. And that's crazy. So when you vote for a lieutenant governor in reference to education, I'm the one. I've been in the trenches for 19 years. I know what to do, and I'm going to do it well with Bill O'Neill. Thank you.
Thank you.